Now we're moving into a negative push-up, and if you do not have your push-ups yet, this is a great movement to start working towards getting it. And what we're going to do is we're going to be in a plank position, and we're going to slowly come down and try to hold for at least 5 to 10 seconds when you come down, and then you're just going to push yourself back up. If you're just starting out, then I would aim for about 3 to 5 reps, and if you're comfortable with this exercise, then go for 15. First exercise from this upper body / core day is a Superman with a shoulder press. And this is actually a sneak peek of one of the new guides that are going to be in Uplift You, which is literally launching tomorrow. So this is a body weight at home guide. And this is honestly such a great exercise to work your back, your shoulders, and your glutes. So make sure you're literally driving up, squeezing your glutes, and also engaging your core and doing a shoulder press. The final exercise for the circuit is one of my favorites that I've been adding in recently are wall sits, and we're just going to hold this for 60 seconds sitting at a 90-degree angle. You can also slightly lean forward a bit just to put more tension on your glutes when sitting in this position, but honestly I love this exercise so much, and adding a plate on your lap is just going to help increase the amount of pain. So I hope you guys enjoyed this glute workout, and let me know if you try it. Third exercise of this circuit is a banded glute bridge, and we're adding the band for more resistance on the glute. And honestly, you don't even need to add weight. You can if you want to, but we're going to be doing high reps, so this is just going to be burning. And I want you to focus on what we spoke about in the first exercise, the hip hinge movement and really squeezing your glutes at the top. The second movement of this circuit is a side to side lunge. And I used a kettlebell to add weight, but I started off my first set with just doing body weight. And honestly, if you are new to this exercise, you don't even have to go this low. The lower you go, it's also going to put more tension on your inner quad. So if you focus on just a smaller range of motion by not going as low and pushing your hips more back, then this is going to help with more glute gains. But I like to do a little bit of both, so this is a side to side lunge. Now we're getting into a circuit, and a circuit is basically a bunch of movements back to back with no rest in between every single movement. So the next 4 exercises you see are all going to be a part of the circuit. The first one being this exercise, a banded side to side step. Make sure you use a band that is comfortable for you and not too strong to the point where it's literally making your knees cave in. You want to stay as low as possible and try to reach each leg out as far as possible. Second compound movement we're getting into is a Bulgarian split squat, and this is with a barbell. So it's a bit tricky when it comes to this one because you really have to make sure you're stabilizing your core and that back foot, because it can get tricky if it's like too heavy. And the front foot should always be at a 90-degree angle when you come down, having a slight lean forward to put more tension on the glute. And if you're new to this exercise, I would start off with, a dumbbell or even just your body weight. If you want to grow your glutes, then I highly recommend you try this workout. Starting off with a barbell RDL, one of my favorite movements for glute gains. But I want to focus on the movement I'm doing, so completely disregard the barbell. Do you see how I'm pushing my hips all the way back, a slight knee bend, and really tucking in my pelvis when I come up? This is called a hip hinge, and you need to focus on a hip hinge to help you see progress and build the strength in your glutes whenever you are doing any kind of glute workout. The last exercise of this circuit is another variation of a plank, but now we are using both arms. You can do a high plank, or you could even do a forearm plank, whatever is most comfortable for you. If your wrists start to hurt in this position, then I would recommend doing a forearm plank, but we're gonna hold for about 30 to 60 seconds. And I really want you to keep your butt down as much as possible and really engage your core. And I want to mention, if your lower back starts to hurt in any of these core movements and it's like an excruciating pain, then I would recommend just not doing those workouts until you can build your core strength and choose exercises that are not as straining on you. And this one right here is a stationary march, which is a great exercise. I want you to really engage your core and bring your knees up as high as possible and try to minimize the amount of rocking. Now getting into the third movement, we are doing a weighted lying leg raise, and if the weight is too challenging for you, then you can always place your hands beside your side. And this is if you really struggle with like your lower back coming up a little bit because of the lack of core strength, and this is going to help with that. And also, if you are comfortable with the weight, you could honestly just make this more challenging by doing the weighted and then going into body weight. The second movement we're getting into is a side plank. So we're holding for 30 to 60 seconds with my right arm. And after you finish that time, you're gonna repeat the same amount of time on the opposite arm. You can honestly incorporate this movement in any of your exercises. It's so great for stabilizing the core, and it's one of my favorite core workouts. To be honest, all of these on here are one of my favorites, but this is a great movement. When you are starting out in the gym, the main thing that you should prioritize is your stability, your mobility, and your core strength. And these are some of my favorite exercises that are perfect if you are just starting out in the gym. I like to start with this movement right here. This is called a bird dog, and you're going to take either the left or right arm, and with the opposite leg, you're going to drive your elbow to your knee and then reach with your back leg as far as possible. And the last exercise we're getting into is a commando plank with a knee tuck. And going from the jumping jack to this exercise is intense and it's gonna be painful, but it's also enjoyable. But make sure you are trying not to rock your hips whenever you come down, really engaging your core and driving your knees up. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this workout and the guide. Now to get our heart rate going and to make things a bit more challenging, we're adding in a jumping jack. And this is one of my favorite movements to do cardio from home because it's really getting your heart rate up and just giving you honestly a great sweat. So we're doing this for 1 minute. Now getting into the third movement to work the core is a Russian twist. And we're gonna aim for about 30 reps. And you can add a weight to make it more challenging, but since this is a body weight only guide, I did it without the weight and it was still challenging for me.